So we're talking about money as a state of being. Now, since we can now put money in the right perspective in the spiritual aspect of money, we can understand that understand that it's a way of seeing how our energy and how energy is working outside of us, because we break it down to that perspective of what it is before it comes into an actual form, right? Because it is a creation of man. We have to look at money as a creation of man. We have to put it in that perspective to understand what that creation is being used for. Because now that we're able to identify it as that, and which is not even necessarily money, it is and it isn't. And we have ways, things that are in the dark about money, right? Is something we're pulling out from the spirit, from the spirit world when we're bringing out new information to the light. Is a perspective of money money is considered a gold coin. Money is whole. Money is supposed to be whole. It's not supposed to be any form of debt, right? Because money is something that's supposed to be that has a value. It shouldn't be associated with a bill, right? Because when we know we receive bills, this is why bills are very important, because they are a way of identifying a debt or a deficit, right? Because it's not whole. So anything attached to a note or a bill is signifying that it is not whole. There is still it's not in its actual value, or there is an aspect that the transaction is not complete. It's not whole, because something still needs to be done. This is why we have banks, because they are an institution of observer. They are the observer of a transaction, an energy exchange, right? Because this is energy being exchanged. So this is how we have to start looking at money. So this video is gonna be an hour long, because I gotta keep stopping. Phone dying, everything just trying not to work for me right now. We gonna get it together. So this is also represented in the second house, the Taurus constellation, the Taurus, the two church, the whatever you want to call it. There's many names. Okay, we know that these things are not names. They're just ways of us connecting to identify to information, because there's some sense of truth. There's more clarity around that. It's more perceptible through our spiritual eye, not the eyes on our face. So Taurus house deals with securities, right? Because that's what money is, a sense of security in many aspects, because it secures us individually as individual beings, and it has a security as well as environmentally and collectively. People feel insecure when they don't have money. People are more susceptible to operating at a lower state because they don't have money. This is a way of keeping people trapped into their lower natures, depending on whether you're trying to ascend or not. Like I said, a lot of us are comfortable there. So, but we can start to identify the operation that's happening socially and societally, in seeing how these things are playing out in our everyday lives, just by knowing money and how it's used. That's why real knowledge is invaluable, because it's your way of seeing. You don't have to believe, because you know. You have that sense of truth. You can recognize it. You can see. I can fly. Because like when you have to believe in something, there's a sense of insecurity. You're not comfortable. You're probably not comfortable, but you're just going to go ahead and step out on faith. Faith is a forward movement, and it gets the spirit to move. It's a way of movement. We can start seeing how these things all go together. The Bible is not going to give you life. You have to be able to recognize as it's happening in your everyday moment, your every now moment. Life is happening all around you. A book, you are the book. This is the problem. People will have faith and belief in a book and not realize that they are the book. This is telling you everything about life or somebody's perception of life. This is on somebody's perception, because we should know that we all come here with our own perception. So we know if we have our own perception, then we know that this Bible is a representation of somebody's perception, because somebody came to an agreement that this is what it was. And that's their perception. But once you see that you have your own connection to God because you are the book, then you're able to see how they're using their perception and what they're pointing to, what they're trying to identify about this world that we're living in. It's a collection of stories, a collection of events that happened throughout time that somebody made it in a story form. But that doesn't mean it's correct. We know that stories are tales. They're an account. Nobody can give you an actual event. We can't do that. We can't do that. Pass that down. Even through TV, where we're still able to give somebody an actual event. Even a footage of a camera can't give us an actual event. Even witnessing something won't give you an actual event, because you are not seeing everything in its entirety. And there's many different spiritual aspects happening all around us, all type of events. So how you gonna just trap and think that that's a story of all of us? That's how that's a trap. It's a mind trap. When you thinking that history actually has to do with you. It deals with you if you believe it to be so. So there's people that live by the land that they have their own concept of history, and they probably don't call it that. They keep track of certain things that matter, that are real to them. A lot of us are focusing on things that are not real to us. Like when you seeing somebody, these rich people out there living a good life, that shit is not real to you. But there's some sense of attraction, right? That's how they're able to draw you in. It's magicianry.